Hey everybody, I'm Quinn.
I'm Scott, and it's time for the Almost Friday show for July 28th, 2011.
Kicking it off and off the press, we're taking a look at Russia and the MMORPG they want to make for you.
So you can learn from it?
Yeah.
Learning from games. It seems to contradict everything I've learned from games.
In Soviet Russia, gameplay is you?
I don't think that's the idea. But,
No.
yeah. And it's coming from the top, from the president.
Yeah.
In the brief tech insight this week, we're telling you about Apple's new change. Not new. We talked about the change before, but the ebook response to the whole "you can't sell your books here" and how that's going to affect ebook reading on the iPad.
And in science this week, Sean's bringing us a sentient being creating a landing pad for a helicopter.
Yeah, and
Which is interesting.
By beings, you mean robots.
Yes.
Naturally, it being Sean's segment, there would be robots.
I guess I should have specified. I just assumed.
Well, because I was like,
would
yeah,
understand from
maybe
now.
aliens. You know, I'm a sentient being,
It's
and
true.
I think someone
You probably
like
could
me
build a helicopter
could build
landing
it
pad.
possibly. It's a square piece of concrete.
You'd lose a lot of cardboard though. You'd be trying to save some corners.
I'm leaving that alone.
All right.
Yeah, there's no cardboard in my landing pads. Then we're going behind the lens, and we're looking at two lens reviews. Very fitting.
Some cheap optics to get a little bit more mileage out of the cameras you already have.
Yes, cameras, you know, whether it be an iPhone or an SLR.
And without further ado, it's time for Off the Press.
Hi everyone! This is a really exciting big news in Off the Press this week. Really exciting news.
What is it?
Do you like saving money?
Yes.
Do you were you thinking about a 3DS?
No.
No, but if you were, Nintendo has announced a price drop for the 3DS from $249.99 to $169.99.
I may buy a 3DS now.
That is an $80 price drop.
Yeah.
So far, it's only 100% sure in the States, although other regions are getting a similar price break. Canada, probably the exact same. It might be a couple of days after.
So why is Nintendo doing this? Are they doing it out of the the tenderness of their heart, or
Mostly out of desperation.
ah?
Yeah, on the one hand, this is great. On the other hand, they're admitting defeat.
Well, okay. At least they're dropping the price.
Yep.
And I believe they're also giving away games to people who own it right now.
Yep. So current owners of the 3DS who have logged on to the little app store thingy, the 3DS Marketplace thingy, will be receiving 10 free NES Virtual Console or Virtual Emulated game thingies,
Okay.
and 10 Game Boy Advance games.
That's pretty cool.
But they're not coming immediately. It's coming a little bit later this year.
Well, okay, so this isn't going to be the whole. Never mind. I was going to pull Sony into this, but there's no reason to do so because they
No.
didn't get hacked.
No.
But this does seem like a bit of an act of desperation.
Oh, it's totally an act of desperation. But pro tip for you people, someone that works in electronics retail, if you were to buy the 3DS now, log on to the NES or the 3DS store.
Mm-hmm.
You have logged on before August 12th, and most retail stores will give you like a price guarantee thing. Like if
Within
it goes on
2
sale
weeks.
within 2 weeks, 30 days, depending on where you go.
So wait until next week.
Yeah. Wait
Buy
until
it.
next week, like the 1st of August or something.
Yeah.
Buy it, log onto the store, have a poke around, buy a couple of games,
And then
and then reap the benefits of having the $80 price break and the 20 free games. I'm actually kind of excited about that.
I think I would probably pick one up really.
Almost Friday show, money saving tips.
Woo!
All right, and now moving over to Europe.
Okay.
Russian's president, I'm going to read his name, hopefully I don't mess it up, Dmitry Medvedev.
That's actually how
I
you
can't
pronounce
do the
it.
Russian accent.
So Dmitry Medvedev.
Yep. Has suggested, I don't know where this came up, unfortunately, the article doesn't say, but he has suggested to teach children education, or to teach children Russian history. Someone, probably a Russian game developer, should develop a Russian history MMO, similar to World of Warcraft.
And like his whole belief, or the whole reason for this, though,
Yeah.
according to the article and according to himself,
Yeah.
is that, for instance, World of Warcraft, to use as an example, is of course not just about going around killing things. It's about the growth of human civilization. And it seems to be, it's fantastical, but
There's a fair bit of like helping people, plot development, especially in the newer expansion, it's with the phasing and the world development, you do a couple of quests, you kill a couple of people, but you also help some people, you do some things, and then,
you're helping
a plot
to
grows.
Yeah, you're helping to build up a society as it is. Because the game itself, of course,
Exactly.
it has its own society, has its own culture. So it already has that. So imagine if you could, in his mind.
Like how I like to look at this article is that he's not saying build like a World of Warcraft clone, because that'd be silly, but like, an MMO to help children learn through gaming. Although, I know a lot of people don't read their quest text.
You know what?
Myself
the other
included
one,
sometimes.
the other one that kind of springs to mind, unfortunately, as much as I really hate to admit it, the first Call of Duty game, Battle of Stalingrad. That's a good one to get you interested in that history for World War II.
That's true.
Which then, if you're like me, which you're probably not.
That's only one portion of
Exactly,
history.
but
though.
if you're like me, you kind of start going, well, that was kind of interesting. What if I go further back? How do we get to this point?
Exactly.
But a lot of people don't care about that sort of thing.
No, but well, it has been proven in some studies that gaming and interacting with stuff does help in education. So
Yeah.
hopefully we'll see something similar take off. Unfortunately, it's probably going to be in Russian. So if you don't read Russian, you might be out of luck.
But speaking of the Battle of Stalingrad, we have a new trailer.
A new trailer for Doctor Who Season 6 Part 2.
Ooh.
Very exciting. There's Hitler, there's monsters, the angels come back, the silence comes back. That weird eye patch lady is back. There's an astronaut. Some shooting and some guns. And there's Hitler.
Yeah. Seems to be a big Nazi kick right now.
Well, I think they just put a lot of Nazi in this trailer because at the end of Part 1, their next episode, let's kill Hitler!
Okay.
Or something to that effect.
Okay. Because
Yeah.
I'm just noticing in the last little bit of media, we're seeing a lot of this.
Yeah.
It's kind of making me wonder things. But, whatever.
In video games, it's cool to hate on Russians. In TV, it's cool to hate on Nazis.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
I don't know.
I've got nothing. Moving on to something with no Nazis, hopefully. Two new clips from Thundercats have surfaced from Comic-Con. So that was last week. We talked a little bit about it last week. This actually looks really slick compared to what we saw in the trailers that we talked about a while ago.
Yeah, and I was actually doubting Sam when she was like, oh yeah, have a look at this, it's really cool. It looks really good. I'm like, no, it's Thundercats. It can't. Yeah, watch this.
Yeah,
I
would at least give it a try for a couple episodes.
Yeah, I mean,
animation
it looks like it could be good.
It's very anime heavy. Like you can really tell that they're picking from anime. But the lines are really smooth. The actions in these two clips are really good. It looks like it's got some pretty good production value.
I hope so. I mean, I watched a little bit of it before. However, I was saying this to Sam. This feels, just when you're watching it,
Yeah.
the production quality feels like it should be a movie more than a
definitely,
TV show.
Or like a made-for-TV movie or
Yeah.
a TV special or something.
Or like a miniseries or something.
Exactly.
But, I mean, like, it looks pretty good.
Yep. So look for it this fall on, I believe it's CW or Cartoon Network.
I think it was on Cartoon
Not
Network.
100% sure. Check our show notes for confirmation. And moving on to our final bit of news.
New releases for this week?
No, actually.
No?
New release trailer.
Oh.
Yeah, so you know how they're making a Rock'em Sock'em Robots movie called Real Steel? Hugh Jackman's in it.
Yeah, and it
Kids,
actually
some
looks kind of
robots.
good.
Yeah, that one actually looks kind of good. Following this trend of toy game
Oh, no.
movies, we've got Battleship.
So is this going to be two people for 2 hours sitting there behind two little panels going, B6, and then some dude behind them is going to push a button and hopefully they hit the enemy blind?
E7.
You sunk my battleship.
Bastard.
Ha!
Unfortunately, no. This looks like yet another Aliens versus U.S. military movie.
Oh.
So it's a good bit of military porn for you people who can't get enough of it.
Why don't they just watch like Transformers movies?
I have no idea. But the only good thing I can say about this trailer is the special effects look really good.
That is true.
Yeah.
The in the
And,
trailer
you
there's
know-
like an alien ship. It looks kind of neat.
It's a nice change to see the Navy represented now instead of the Army.
That's
and
true.
And the glut of Middle Eastern set movies.
That is true.
Good on you, for starring the Navy in something. And now new releases.
Yay!
Yay! In theaters this week, we have Cowboys and Aliens.
I can't wait to see that.
I'm really excited for that one.
And then we also have something which I'm going to avoid like the plague, unfortunately, which is the Smurfs.
I like Neil Patrick Harris, but not enough to go see this movie.
No.
On DVD and Blu-ray this week, we have Source Code.
Which is really good. I actually want to watch
Actually
that
a
one.
pretty good movie.
There's also Supernatural, the animated series,
Yep.
which was a good live action. I never watched the animated.
We talked about it on the show briefly. I believe it was introduced at Comic-Con last year, or either Toy Fair or Comic-Con last year.
Okay.
And we have also on DVD and Blu-ray Bird Notice, The Fall of Sam Axe, starring Bruce Campbell.
Oh, good.
Yay.
And then in games we have Catherine, which I've been hearing things about, but I still have no idea.
It's really good. It's like a puzzle, fantasy, action, adventure type game.
And that's coming out on PS3 and 360.
And finally, we have another Sims 3 expansion pack, Town Life, for the PC.
Ugh.
They come up with one every month. That's how they make their money.
Still going. God.
A lot of people like it, mostly teenage girls.
I'm waiting for the venereal diseases pack.
And with that, we'll end the segment for the week.
Hey everybody, welcome to Tech Insight. We're starting it off with some ebook Apple news. We've talked about it before,
Yes.
but if you were asleep during that segment, here's what's going on.
So Apple has multiple times changed their App Store agreements. So this applies to ebook stores releasing their apps. So like Kobo has an app, Kindle has an app, Sony maybe has an app, I don't think so. But places like that. So what's gone on now is basically all these ebook stores have finally caved. So you can no longer buy buy ebooks from Amazon store through the Kindle app. You can no longer buy ebooks from the Barnes & Noble store through the Kobo app. Those features have been removed. And what's happened is I think a few other players have even just removed their apps altogether and said, forget this. We're just not going to have an app anymore.
Interesting.
Because, if the app's free, so they can't make any money off free.
It's true.
Which is useless. So what they've really done is said, forget it. Sorry, actually, the Nook is what I was missing. Kobo's gone. They
Yes.
pulled their app. The Nook has adjusted, so you can't buy through the Nook store anymore.
So what does this mean if you use things like Barnes & Noble and you want to read
So-
ebooks? You can't do it on your iPad now?
You can.
All right.
You just have to go buy the book on your computer using a web browser,
Okay.
and then go back into the. Or you can probably use the web browser on your iPad.
Possible.
But the app is no longer linked to anything, so you can't click go to store. You can't buy it conveniently within the app like you could before. You have to close the app, open a web browser, buy the book on your account, open the app, and now you have the book, which is ridiculous. Especially since they'd already had the integration. Now they've had to go backwards because Apple's like, haha, we sell ebooks too, except no one I know uses iBooks.
It's true.
And their catalog is apparently still nothing compared to Amazon or Barnes & Noble. Even Canada has a good ebook catalog at Indigo. So I really don't. I think this is ridiculous. But I think what Kobo's doing, which is weird because Borders, which formed Kobo, is now bankrupt. So Kobo's basically the Canadian guy now.
Yeah.
Because they've been picked up by Indigo, which is a big book chain up in Canada. Basically, they're going, fine, we'll make an HTML5 reader.
Interesting.
Good play, I think.
Yeah, because then you could access that from anywhere, not just on an iPad.
Exactly, and it's just as easy. You can
Yeah.
make your shortcut.
And it means
icon.
that any tablet has the same functionality.
Yeah,
I
and
mean, that
that-
seems to make a lot more sense.
I agree.
Is it going to be as pretty, though?
I don't know. You can do a lot with HTML5.
It's true.
I don't know all the specifics. I really haven't been in web development since like HTML3 or 4. So I don't know. But I think if they do pull off a good interface, it doesn't have to be fantastic because you're reading a book.
Mm-hmm.
As long as the interface on the readers is nothing. So I think if you can pull off a decent interface, and obviously you're going to have the store integrated and everything. So I think that'll probably end up being a better route, because then if I have my Acer Iconia tablet and you have your iPad and we both read Kobo books, it looks exactly the same.
Yeah.
Saves so much dev time.
For
Because
sure.
you don't have to build the Android one and all this stuff. So I think that's probably where it's going. And I think ebooks is a good place to start for this because it's a fairly simplistic thing.
Yeah.
And all your books are stored in the cloud anyway.
Yeah.
So look forward to that. So maybe something to circumvent Apple that's better is actually happening because of their ridiculous policies.
It'll be interesting to see if Apple reverses this decision based on
after everyone develops.
based on the. Well, I mean, the thing is that most of these companies could pretty easily re-implement those or just resubmit their apps.
Well, see, and the thing is, Amazon caved
Yeah.
and took the links out, and Amazon has the most to lose here in terms of dollars. And I don't think they're because what that happens was if you put the link in, you have to give all that money to Apple.
Yeah.
Because it's a within an
get a
app
30%
purchase,
cut.
which is ridiculous.
Because they were barely making money on these ebooks in the first place.
Well, yeah, that's the whole thing. Is you cut down your margins so they're cheap, so people want them.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, I'm just going to go buy the book if it's the same price.
Yeah.
Or you'll sell less ebooks anyway. So I mean, Amazon's doing the smart thing by cutting their margins. Amazon's a really smart company.
I think Amazon knows it because they are one of the largest at the moment. They really need to keep an app in the
game.
game.
I think the other thing is Amazon has a big base of Kindle users.
Yeah.
And those people are supplementing their Kindle use.
Yeah.
With I don't want to go upstairs and get my Kindle. I've already had my iPad. I'll read for a bit.
Yeah.
I'm on the bus. I forgot my Kindle. I'll use my iPhone kind of thing.
Yeah.
Even Kobo users. My mom has a Kobo, and she has the Android app, which was not affected by this. But, it's supplemental, I think, the app use,
Yeah.
as opposed to primary access to the bookstore. So I think Amazon's going, well, we need to keep the app to keep the presence, but we're not losing as much as we could.
Yeah, so we need to see if Apple at some points reverses this, if they get a lot of flack from users going, why do I suddenly have a lot less access to my content?
It's just weird to have that backwards integration.
Because it's Apple going, it was easy, now it's not.
Yeah,
which is counter Apple's idea.
Which is not their philosophy, but,
No.
Apple's become this we want money company, and I think that's changing some of their core philosophies.
It's true.
It's hard to say, but that's what's happening now. So if you can't get your book right away in your Kindle app anymore, that's why.
Speaking of getting access to content, BBC iPlayer is going to be coming to the U.S. later this year.
Yeah, so it rolled out to about 24 international countries now, not being the U.S., Canada, or Mexico. Basically, the iPlayer is like Hulu, but for BBC content.
Which is really good content.
Yeah, the BBC makes a lot of great shows. I mean, you can get the Doctor Who's on there. I don't think Torchwood's on there because it's a Starz production, but not sure. So you get all that, basically anything the BBC makes ends up on iPlayer after it's aired on their networks.
Yeah.
So that was only accessible in the UK last year for free. Now it's accessible in these 24 international countries. Don't know the terms on that.
I think it varies by country.
I imagine. So when it comes to Canada and the US and Mexico, later in this year probably, it is ad supported, so you're not going to get ad free content, which would be okay, except you have to pay for it.
Yeah.
And it's reasonable. I think if you watch a lot of BBC, if you're going to watch this much, it's good. So it's $70 for the year.
It's not bad.
Which for a yearly price, that's what I pay for Xbox Live.
Yes.
And, I might put a lot, but I have to pay games. So, it's a similar kind of thing to that. It's something you'll apply for and forget about kind of charge, which is a smart way to do it.
Yeah.
And you get unlimited access to the BBC iPlayer. There's talk that maybe you'll be able to download to access later, which, if that's in there, makes that $70 a lot better price.
Yeah, absolutely. If you can cache a couple of episodes because you're going to be on a plane or something like that.
Yeah, for sure. And the bonus for us as American, Canadian users, as opposed to UK users, we'll be able to stream over 3G. Because this is coming to the iPad app. This is coming to, I don't know if there's an iPhone app or not, but also, of course, web access. But I think they're really trying to hit the iPad with this, which makes sense. Good place for this kind of content.
Absolutely.
So you'll be able to stream over 3G, which you can't do in the UK.
Cool.
Yeah, so if you like Top Gear, if you like, that kind of BBC stuff, you can get it faster, and the quality is quite good. I've used proxies before to watch iPlayer, so it's much better than Hulu, to be honest with you. But that is coming, hopefully, to Canada.
And our final bit of news this week is the accidentally tripped over and found Facebook for iPad.
So I'd like to plug this. A Canadian engineer found this in the code for the Facebook iPhone app.
Yes.
If I think I remember correctly.
So I believe what Facebook will be doing when this becomes available is a single app to do both, which makes sense.
Yeah, so you download the Facebook app.
Yeah.
And then if you're on iPad, it shows iPad things, and if you're on iPhone, which everyone should be doing that. You should not have the iPad version app. That's just ridiculous.
Yes, it is quite annoying.
But I mean, it might be hard with games and things.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I didn't get a chance to look at the interface, but you were saying it looks pretty good.
Yeah, so a bunch of pictures were leaked of what it looked like, and it's gorgeous. Really, really well thought out, very clean, really makes use of the iPad's, general way of browsing photos and things like that. A much better application than what you get on the iPhone, which, is kind of funny because they put so much resistance into making an app for the iPad, and I would much rather use the iPad app than the iPhone app because it's just way prettier.
Yeah, the iPhone app's had so many problems. So has the Android app. So has the BlackBerry app.
So there was a way to get in and do it, and then Facebook found out, so they shut down from their end the ability to log in using the iPad code.
Yeah.
But if you are jailbroken on your iPad, which you can be on both 1 and 2 right now, there's a Cydia tweak that allows you to get back into it.
AKA it'll hide the fact that you're using the Facebook app.
Yeah, so you can get back into that if you want. But hopefully, there isn't a release date, but we know it exists now. So unless Facebook decides to be big jerks and never give it to us, I'm excited to see this come down the pipeline.
And from the people using it, not extremely buggy considering the lengths you have to do to access it.
Yeah.
So if you still want to do it, you have a jailbroken, you can go to the website, check out the show notes. There's a list on how to do it. And then, of course, you have to jump on Cydia and get that little tweak.
Yeah.
And, let us know.
But I'm excited for it. I'm not a big Facebook user, but
it's long overdue.
Currently, the best option on the iPad is Friendly, which is all right, but not fantastic.
It's long overdue.
Yeah, it'll be nice to see this come.
We look forward to seeing it on the iPad.
And that brings us down to Tech Insight for this week.
It's kind of alive! Nah, it's still dead. Oh.
So, we're back, and we're doing some more science.
Yay!
However, we've gone back to our old ways. We've kind of slipped a little bit.
Yep.
Because we are talking about robots.
Again.
Yes, but these are cheery little robots. They're not arms, they're not replacements. These are thinking bots.
Yep, kind of like a follow the leader robot.
Yeah, except kind of like follow the leader with a bunch of really young children.
Mm-hmm.
Because I have no idea how to really even describe how these work.
All right, so it's a group of 5 robots. So you got the one leader, and you got the 4 followers. How is the leader controlled? Is it?
Well, the leader is already pre-programmed.
Okay.
So basically, leader's kind of pre-programmed, and it kind of tells all the others, I need you to move into this position and that sort of thing. Okay. Except the other ones are kind of sitting around, they're like those little kids that are like, butterfly. And they're not really paying attention. They get the order, but they don't know where everyone else is.
Mm-hmm. So, I like the analogy of the little kid, because when the leader tells you to do something, you don't know what's going on, but you are aware of the things around you. Like, these follower robots are aware of their friend next to them, their friend behind them, and their leader tells them, hey, form a line.
Yeah.
You're obviously not going to, bump into your neighbor.
Exactly. So, to give you a little more context, because we kind of just jumped into that one.
We totally did. My bad.
This is coming from the Georgia Robotics and Intelligent Systems Lab. They've decided that they would use these little follow-the-leader robots to create a landing pad that is mobile for a quadricopter, so a little remote-controlled helicopter. So basically, the little robots, as we were describing, the leader says, "Oi, need me a landing pad. Got something coming in." And then they kind of like run around a little bit, and then they form up. And then, the quadricopter comes up and hovers down onto the landing pad.
Nice, safe landing.
Yeah. And then, it takes off and starts moving to another position.
Yep.
So, leader says, "Oi, move it." Move it up. So they all start following the leader again, wondering where everyone's at. Okay, he's over there, he's over there. And they all form up again. And it drops down again. So this is a really, really interesting way of showing that we can make simplistic thinking machines.
Yep.
There's a general, very, very broad order given, and that is pad, landing, need, now.
Well, it's very broad order. It could be like, you guys, why don't you make a circle?
Yeah.
And then they'll be like, okay.
Yeah,
And
form
then-
up around me, or
form
things
up
like
around
that.
me, form a line, form a square, follow where I'm going.
Exactly. And these little follower bots are able to say, okay, my mate's over there, so I'll follow him.
Yep.
And then the rest of them are going to be like, oh, they're over there. We need to follow them. Oh, there's the leader. Quickly, everyone form up, get over there, without bumping into each other. This is a huge leap forward, although it's small, and not only is it that it's small, we've had these swarm bots before,
Yep.
but these are quick.
Yeah,
These are moving quickly. Like, there's actually a video if you go to our show notes. If you go in, I suggest watching the whole thing.
it's a pretty short video, too.
It
It's
is
really
pretty
cool.
short. This is done in real time.
Yep.
We've talked about these before. We talked about it with the little termite bots.
Yep,
Those
the
are
one
swarm
that
bots.
built the stairs a couple of weeks ago.
Those were sped up 20 times plus. This is real time. This is all going. So, it's a really neat story.
Yep.
Really neat little robots, and really that just keeps on showing us more of we don't know anything about making robots like these people seem to do.
Yep.
So, the next one, we
Yeah.
go into another medical story
Yay.
for science. Do you know what an iron lung is?
Yep.
Okay. So, iron lungs used to be giant tube. You go into it when you have a lung problem, and they
And it-
breathe for you.
Yeah, that basically supplies you with oxygen and
Yeah. So that was an old archaic design. They remade it, and now they made it. And then when they remade it, it was very inefficient. You needed oxygen tanks, and it basically just kind of pumped you
now
with
it's
oxygen.
slightly more portable.
Slightly more portable, not bared down with actual oxygen supply,
Yeah.
and almost implantable.
Almost.
The researchers have actually figured out how to use I guess it was a silicone rubber, to actually create small artificial blood vessels,
Yep.
which allows for actual oxygen diffusion into the blood. Not only is it more efficient than having an oxygen tank up to your face, it's actually absorbing it at the same rate
Yep.
and at the same efficiency as your natural lungs.
So what this means is that pretty much you don't have to carry an oxygen tank around anymore.
No. However, it's not inside of a human body yet.
Not yet.
Not yet. However, it's very, very close. There's not many details about it other than,
Yep.
it's made
The
of
article
silicone.
we have in the show notes is pretty vague. It's not a very long article.
Yeah, but this is a really huge step forward, especially with people with lung cancer or people who lose
Right.
lungs. This is a really cool
Yeah.
thing because it means they're not tied down anymore, and they're not limited in movement and
Yep.
distance. So the last two stories are just really mentions,
Yep.
because I'm going to whore out my blog in this one.
You would.
I would. I'm paying
Yeah.
for it now. I should. So basically, those wonderful folks at CERN, this is also a CERN update, they're getting closer, very, very close to seeing the Higgs boson, they think.
Maybe.
They've had, once again, record-breaking smashes, record-breaking particle trails.
Record-breaking smashes.
Oh, God. I don't even know when I'm doing it anymore. Walk into them. But anyway, so they're moving on, and they're getting very close. It's amazing what they're starting to see. I'm going to be writing a better talk about this and linking the articles on my blog.
Cool.
Also, the next one is going to be very short. Chinese researchers have finally said, you cannot go faster than the speed of light. You cannot go backwards in time with that method. Wormholes and
anomalies.
are all
anomalies.
yeah. So anomalies are still good and open. So check out
So
my
the
blog.
TARDIS is still a go.
It is still a go, which is really cool.
You can't slingshot yourself around the sun though. That's a bust.
No, that ain't happening anymore. Superman flying around the Earth? Sorry, doesn't work.
No.
So you can check out the articles, which I'll be posting. Hopefully they'll be up before you see this. You can head over to my blog, www.section8.org. That's SECKTION.
I believe there's going to be a thing
probably right
that's
there.
down here somewhere.
I hope so, because spelling it out sucks. So just go there. We should be able to find the news articles,
Yep.
a couple of my other posts. Some of them not safe for work, so be careful. But that wraps up for science this
Yeah,
week.
we got a pretty good balance of everything we normally cover.
Yeah, and it's short.
Welcome behind the lens for this week. We have a couple lens reviews coming up, but first, some Windows news on our photography segment.
Yes, it's true. So if you're a Windows user, which a lot of people are, I've heard.
I've
been
heard,
told,
yes.
I've been told. The photographers like to stay away from Windows, so I've heard as well. But if there's some of you out there editing your photos on Windows, you've probably come to the conclusion that RAW support is, at this point, non-existent.
Well, because basically they look like those generic files, and you can't actually see them until you open them in something.
That has RAW support.
Yes, which, as far as we figured, was not the default image browser.
Yes,
Without maybe a plugin or something.
possibly. But Windows has come to the rescue, finally. I feel this is kind of long overdue, really.
Especially in 7. You think it would have been in 7?
Yeah.
I could see it not being in Vista, though.
So they do finally have RAW support in both the Explorer and their photo gallery app, and there's some editing capabilities of that RAW in the photo gallery app as well.
Which is actually a nice touch.
It is a nice touch for sure. So if you go to Windows website, I got the link in the show notes here. You can go and download the Windows RAW codec pack, which will allow your computer to see these files.
I imagine that'll be pushed in a service pack at some point.
Yeah, Apple's been doing it for a while, which was always something I was surprised about because when I moved to Apple from Windows, and I was a photographer on Windows first, and then moved to Apple. It was I got to Apple. I'm like, oh, I can just look at this file.
The thing about it is not even just RAW.
Yeah.
Apple previews things better.
Yeah.
Whereas Windows tried not to preview anything because they didn't want to. If you want to use this file, use it what it's meant to be used in was their attitude. But people wanted that. So they've kind of been really late to the game. Like you know when you see a document in Apple, it actually shows you a preview of the document as the file icon.
Yeah.
Still not in Windows. Windows doesn't want to do that. But Apple has that extra touch.
So, so for Windows users, shooting photography, doing RAW SLRs, go download this codec pack. It will make your life easier, and that is always better because when you just want to find that one photo out of like the 300 that you took.
Much easier as opposed to opening them up and scrolling through.
Yes. So moving on to our first bit of gear review. Flickr has come out and said that the iPhone 4 is the most popular camera on the market.
Which is a fact we like to tout a lot.
It's true. We, the better majority of our staff members here have iPhone 4s, and we do take a lot of pictures with them, surprisingly, and never seem to be all that upset with the results.
It's actually my primary camera. How sad is that?
Yeah. So if you do have an iPhone 4, and you want to get a little bit more mileage out of the camera on here, there's some really great options for you, and that's with these guys here, which are, I know they're small, so they're hard to see. But what these are basically little adaptable lenses. One of them is a fisheye lens, and the other one is a macro lens. And these ones specifically are designed for the Kodak PlaySport cameras, which we've talked about on the show before. I think we reviewed it on the show.
I believe so.
Is one of our top choices for a pocket waterproof camcorder. And so you can get these little guys, and they come with a little magnet ring on the back. And they give you 2 magnets with each lens. And because the iPhone 4 is flat on the back, you can actually use it. Because unfortunately, this won't work on the 3G or the 3GS because it's curved, so you can't actually attach these properly. But with the iPhone 4 and the magnetic rings, you can basically just attach the lenses right on.
Now the caveat is you do need a back plate that is some kind of magnetic capable metal.
Yes, or you have to attach these little rings,
Yes.
which might make it a little bit harder to put cases on there. But if you've got a thin profile case, you could attach the metal ring to the outside of your case. But what's really cool about these is that you can get the wide angle, which is going to get you a bit more spread, and it's also macro lens. You can get really close with it for some really interesting shots. And that's where these cameras can actually do a really good job because you get that little bit of that depth of field. So if you can bring, that candle or that fruit or that flower closer, you can actually knock out some of your background.
It was actually, we were playing with it a little bit before the show, actually kind of impressive almost what you can get with that tiny little sensor.
Yeah.
These lenses, you don't lose any video quality or sharpness or anything like that.
They're pretty sharp end. I mean, they're not fantastic, but
well, and I mean, it's a magnet-on lens, so you got to go in knowing that. But I think especially for the average user, they look pretty good.
So these ones are for the Kodak. The optics are quite good. One of the better ones I've tried. You're looking at about $30 for the wide angle, and you're looking at $40 for the fisheye. The fisheye is a lot of fun because you do get that circular fisheye look from it, which is pretty entertaining. And if you throw them into video mode, it ends up actually going a little bit tighter, and it fills the whole frame. So you can use it if you're doing any kind of like action videos, or if you're doing any kind of walking videos. You're gonna get a lot less shake in your videos, which is kind of neat.
You get a remarkably stable shot because it does crop it down, and you get that nice.
Yeah, so you're looking at $30 for wide angle, $40 for the fisheye. Now I do know on places like Deal Extreme you can get some cheaper ones. I think go for about $15 to $20 online. Optically, I'm not sure how they compare, but I was very impressed with the Kodak one. So if you are looking for the better quality one, I recommend checking these guys out, and it's a great little option to add a little bit more functionality to the camera on your phone. And they're pretty small, so you can keep them in your pocket or in your purse or something, and not take up a lot of space. So that's part 1 of our cheap gear review.
Now let's say you have something a little bigger, say, a mirrorless camera, maybe a DSLR.
Now this really only works on mirrorless cameras.
Yeah, with the sensors, yeah.
So this guy here is really quite a little fantastic lens. This is a Fujian 35mm f1.7 CCTV lens. So when you go into, the grocery store and all those cameras up in the sky are watching you, they have lenses like these attached to them.
Well, they used to anyway.
Well, yes.
They're very small these days.
It depends on what kind of camera.
Yes.
My store still has cameras like this with these lenses. And then what this is called a C-mount lens. And it's very traditional mounting. It's used in a lot of different types of cameras. But the cool thing about the C-mount lenses is they're really cost effective. This guy here, like I said, it's a 35mm f1.7, so quite bright. And it goes for about $30. And you can get it online with the C-mount adapter for about an extra $10. You're looking about $40 for the package. But you're dealing with a 70mm equivalent f1.7 lens. It's really great portrait length. And what's neat about this lens specifically is it's got a very interesting character to it. And what happens is the out of focus areas, some people really dig their out of focus areas being very flat and creamy and smooth. This one has a little bit more character to it. It looks pastel-y, it looks painted. Yeah. And if you're okay with your lens having character, which I actually kind of prefer it can give you a really interesting look. And what I've found, especially when you're dealing with these smaller sensors, is it's hard to get that sort of really shallow depth of field look to the images because you are dealing with a smaller sensor. And this does a really good job at achieving sort of a full frame shallow depth of field look to it because of the way the optics are designed. So you do have adjustable apertures as f1.7 to f16, so it does work like a regular camera lens, and you do have focusing ring as well, so you're not stuck on any specific aperture or any specific focus. And really good optical quality. I found it to be quite sharp. And when you buy them for about $30, you're looking at your brand new lens. So you're not even buying these used or off of a camera or something like that. So I definitely recommend these guys if you do have a mirrorless camera, Olympus, Panasonic. You can pick one of these up on eBay, and I've put a link to one in the show notes. Depending on when you check it out, it might be gone, but they're pretty easy to find. There's lots of them out there. Really fun lens to play around with. And, it's light and it's small, so it's very easy to carry around as well, which is, always one of the benefits of these mirrorless cameras is it's all about compact size. So you do screw them on, which is kind of a neat effect. And the other flip side of this is that depending on what kit you buy, sometimes they come with little extenders. And when you use those extenders, you get even closer focusing capabilities, which is pretty cool. Yeah. So versatile lens, good image quality. If you got a mirrorless camera, I recommend checking one of these guys out if you don't mind manual focus, because I think you'll have a lot of fun with it. And for $40 for f1.7,
can't go wrong.
Can't go wrong.
Yeah.
So that brings us to the end of Behind the Lens this week.